Welcome in Chiefs Kingdom to Chiefs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Happy Wednesday, also known as Hump Day, and I hope the second half of your week is as good as the first half. Four topics for you, as always, action-packed episode. But before we dive into today's episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on those notifications, as it doesn't only help me and the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. As we all know, minicamp started on Tuesday, and already a name turning some heads and lighting up the field. That's right, Tyquan Thornton has been turning heads early in minicamp, and he could help make the Chiefs wide receiver room have some more depth this upcoming season if he is on that finalized roster. And that's going to be huge, especially with the injury history that has been following that wide receiver room. But it's not just that. I think it's his speed and his skills as a gunner for special teams that's going to make him a potential roster lock and once again a steal for Brett Beach. Now, it matters because, as I mentioned, the Chiefs wide receiver room took a hit last season. We saw Rice only play in 4 games, and then we saw Hollywood Brown only play in 2 games last season. So Thornton's emergence, that could just add some extra insurance, and I don't think anyone's going to complain about a little extra insurance there. But the special teams value is huge. Dave Tobe, the special teams coordinator, loves versatile players like we see with Nico Remigio, who Thornton could be potentially battling for the spot. So when looking at Thornton's profile, 6'2", 185 pounds, 4.28 40-yard dash. There's that speed that the Chiefs love, especially when it comes to their wide receivers. Drafted by the Patriots back in round 2. Looking at his NFL career, 39 catches, 403 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 28 games. So far in minicamp, of course, it goes till Thursday, but so far he's been showing off that deep connection with Mahomes. He's been showing off those gunner reps that have been standing out to not only the crowd, but also Dave Tobe. So he's really standing out, and that speed is going to complement Reed's vertical attack, and it's just going to add on to the fact that they're trying to push the ball downfield more this upcoming season. So looking at that wide receiver room, let's say, Thornton does come on and add something to there. You would also have Worthy, Rice, Hollywood Brown, Jalen Royals, Juju Smith-Schuster, and some are still fighting to try to make it into that room. So it would be a nicely stacked wide receiver room. But the special teams is what I think gives him that edge to make the finalized roster if that's what the Chiefs decide to do. And he could outshine Remigio, but Remigio is impressive when it comes to returning. Last year, 20.4 yards a return, and just had some electric returns that sparked up the team. So won't be an easy battle, but I think there could be a battle there. So just my biggest takeaway is his speed and his gunner work, and I think that could solidify him a spot, and then that would only help the Chiefs wide receiver depth room. And then his minicamp buzz is proving that I think he's ready to contribute early, and that's huge for whether it's a rookie, undrafted free agent, or someone new joining the team. I know he's on the practice squad, but it's always good to have someone that can come in and hit the ground running. Now, I've been talking about the offense a lot in this podcast, but we're going to go ahead and switch over to the defense because some people are saying that this Chiefs defense won't be top 10 this upcoming season. And in my opinion, I think this team will be top 10 this upcoming season, but Pro Football Network has them ranked 14th ahead of the 2025-26 season. Like I said, I think that's too low. I think with Spag's expertise in bringing back core players on the defense, I think they're good for another top 10 to top 13 um, defensive season or ranking here this upcoming season. But you bring back McDuffie, you bring back Karlaftis, you bring back Jones, and I think this linebacker unit will prove doubters wrong this upcoming season. Now, it matters because the Chiefs' defense these past 2 seasons has been elite, and it's helped them quite a bit in quite a few games, actually. Second in yards allowed in 2023, ninth in 2024. So a drop to 14th, it could hurt a Super Bowl run, but they did win the Super Bowl in 2022 with the 16th ranked defense. So even if they do fall to 15 and below defensively, they've proven that they can still get to the Super Bowl and win it there. Now, the secondary does need some work. I'm not going to just, glance over that. I know that there needs to be work done there, but minicamp has shown some promise. There's been some buzz there. We'll get to that in a second, but looking at this core, Chris Jones 5.5 sacks last season were low, but his 89.7 PFF grade was high for interior defenders. Nick Bolton, I've always viewed him as the anchor for the defense. Last season, 106 tackles and 3 sacks. I just think he's that field general that the defensive players look to and rely on. But also, Drew Tranquil has been really good. 94 tackles last season, 3 interceptions. Karlaftis, 8 sacks, and he's on a contract year, so that could fuel some breakout potential, along with Trent McDuffie, who is also on a contract year. Last season, he had 59 tackles and 2 interceptions. So those two could really outshine others this season as they're going to try and get the most money as they can. I did mention that secondary needs some help, but so far minicamp, Noel Williams, the rookie corner, has an interception. He's been showcasing what he can do. Undrafted free agent Brandon Johnson has 2 interceptions so far as well, and Jaden Hicks, he's set for a bigger role this upcoming season. And when looking at Spags, fourth best scoring defense last season, blitzed only 28% of plays. So his schemes, they maximize talent, and that's going to be huge for some of these, especially for the secondary, who's not as talented across the board, that these schemes can help. So my biggest takeaway, Spags, Jones, and just contract year stars, I think that's going to keep the Chiefs defense within that top 10 ranking. And just what we're seeing from minicamp is exciting, and it's good to see Williams kind of flip the script. He was kind of struggling early on, but now he's flipping the script, and I think he's drawing more eyes to him. All right, after talking about the defense and raving about them, we're going to go back to the offense just real quickly and talk about Trey Smith, because I talked about his situation on Tuesday's episode, and let's just go ahead and talk about what was going on. Smith signed a $23.4 million franchise tag, and he attended minicamp on Tuesday, despite no long-term deal being made. And Chris Jones had some comments to say about it. Now, we all know Jones held out back in 2023, and he jokingly said, "It's good that Trey didn't take my approach." He praised Smith's professionalism, as I think we all should, and he said he's a superior guard, could be all-pro. If you remember, as I mentioned, Jones was on a holdout in 2023, missed week 1, and then signed that 5-year deal. So in my opinion, this take that Smith is having, this professional approach, it's amazing. Shows that he's a true leader, that he's a team-first leader, and that he's committed to investing into this offensive line and protecting Patrick Mahomes. So I got to agree here with Chris Jones. It's pretty cool what Smith is doing, and especially with how the O-line struggled, not even all last season, but more specifically in the Super Bowl. I think having him there is key. Having his presence there is key. Working with the newcomers, working with rookies, and just showing everyone across the line, hey, I'm committed to you guys. Now, as I said, long-term deal talks are due by mid-July, but you need to kind of figure out where you're going in that direction, because it could impact, cap space for McDuffie and Karlaftis. So he's coming off a Pro Bowl season, 1.5 sacks allowed. I'm pretty sure that came in the Super Bowl, 26 pressures and 1,115 snaps. And then we know that the Chiefs traded Joe Thuney. So now you have Smith and Creed Humphrey as interior anchors. So just building chemistry in minicamp with new linemen, that's going to help, because this team was ranked 12th in offensive line performance. And now with Smith returning, I think that's just going to boost that ranking. So smart move here by Smith. It strengthens the O-line. It builds that chemistry. And it just shows that he's committed in investing into what they are building there in Kansas City. And just Jones praising him too shows that this is a team that is coming together once again, and that they are ready to dominate in 2025. And speaking of dominating, the Chiefs are trying out 4 players at minicamp that are hoping to dominate the field. Now, I'm not sure if these 4 players will, but I think that it's important just to talk about who they're looking at, because minicamp is the perfect time to look at players that might have been overlooked or went undrafted. So those 4 players include wide receiver Tanner Canoe, tight end Jacorius Spivey, offensive tackle Ricky Lee, and center Joe Lombard. I'm going to kind of go over quickly just what these people bring to the field in terms of their stats. But as I mentioned, just a great time to give people a chance, and who knows what you might find, a little diamond in the rough type of deal there. So When looking at Canoe, 5'11", 178 pounds out of Eastern Michigan. In college, 154 catches, 1,866 yards, and 17 touchdowns in 37 games. He was on the Bucs practice squad where he tried out as a returner. When looking at Spivey, 6'5", 238 pounds out of TCU. In college, 28 catches, 298 yards, and a touchdown in 52 games. Nothing that really jumps up at you off the page, but he is a training camp alum with the Chiefs, having been there last season. And he's also played in the UFL where he had 7 catches for 65 yards. When looking at Lee, 6'5", 289 pounds out of North Carolina State, went undrafted but played 6 games for the Panthers. Also played in the UFL where he started 10 games, and he's just spent time on multiple other practice squads. So he has that kind of NFL experience per se. The Lombard, 6'5", 305 pounds out of South Dakota, FCS All-American after starting 48 college games across guard and center. So he is noted for that O-line versatility, which would be huge, especially for this O-line that is starting to figure everything out. And Brett Veach just loves finding, these undrafted talent. He had 16 undrafted free agents sign in 2025. So no harm in tryouts, as someone could surprise you and add depth, and that's huge for a team that's trying to get back to the Super Bowl, because as the season goes on and as you hit playoffs, just having that next person up really matters. That was Wednesday's episode. Go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on those notifications if you haven't already. And go ahead and leave your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Thornton, and if you think he can make a finalized spot on the roster, where you think this defense will end ranking-wise by the end of the season. Go ahead and share your thoughts on Trey Smith, and let me know if you think any of those 4 players that they're trying out could make an impact for the Chiefs. We have videos for you Monday through Friday. That's right, daily videos over the Chiefs. As mentioned, I'm your host, Calvin Silvers, and until next time, have a good one.